So is the Pixel 9 just a small step up from the Pixel 8? Or maybe it's a massive leap forward? Well, I've uncovered some surprising twists and jaw-dropping discoveries. From the gaming performance to the cameras and more that I did not see coming, and I bet you wouldn't even imagine. Now, as for the design, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 9 has a matte finish at the sides. But because the camera bump area goes towards the sides of the Pixel 9, I prefer how this looks and how the sides feels because of its flatter sides. Where the sides blends over to the top and all around the phone, which made this nicer to feel on the hands. Now, not that the Pixel 8 sucked, but since this is a comparison video, if I had to choose between both, the Pixel 9 is definitely better when using it daily. Now, speaking of the camera bump, the Pixel 9 has an island of a camera design, where the camera bump is right in the middle towards the top of the phone, where the Pixel 8 has a bar that wraps around at the sides as mentioned earlier. So yeah, this does come down to a personal preference, as everyone from the Lobo TV team prefers the Pixel 8. But for me, I honestly prefer the Pixel 9's new look because it looks a bit more futuristic in my point of view. Now, the good news is that both phones did not wobble at all, no matter which area that you press the phone screen on a table or a flat surface, which I believe that Pixel phones are the only smartphones out right now which doesn't wobble at all, which is extremely underrated. Which I do wish that other smartphones do consider this when they are designing their camera bumps, so it doesn't seem like the smartphone is doing a breakdancing competition. Now, speaking of other smartphone companies, while the overall design change is quite minimal, but it is indeed nice that Google has made some effort to change the look of this Pixel 9 compared to the Pixel 8, which really differentiate their different generation phones compared to other smartphone companies. So a huge credit goes to Google on this, on making the design just a little different. So this does come down to a personal preference once again, but I would give the Pixel 9 a point when it comes to the overall design because of my personal preference. Now, as for the comparison for both screens, by itself, the Pixel 8 was great, but when viewed side by side, the new LTPO OLED display on the Pixel 9 was surely superior, as the Pixel 8 looked a little outdated. The bezels are now more uniform too, while not the thinnest compared to other flagship smartphones, but overall a big improvement over here. The peak brightness also improved significantly, up to 2700 nits compared to only 2000 nits on the Pixel 8, and the HBM brightness or the high brightness mode when using the phone from a day-to-day use, it is also better at 1800 nits compared to just 1400 nits, where I saw a huge difference when taking videos during the day in a very bright daylight. And speaking of taking videos, don't go anywhere because I'll be doing a camera comparison between these two phones coming in a while. Then the Google Pixel 9 has a bigger screen too at 6.3 inches compared to 6.2 inches. So that was a really sweet upgrade that Google has done. Not exactly a go big or go home situation, but you know what they say, size does matter. Just a little.
That's what she said!
And there's also the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor on the Pixel 9 compared to the optical ones on the Pixel 8. So it is a little faster, and there's also a more durable Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on this Pixel 9 as well. So yeah, here is another point for the Google Pixel 9 for its overall better screen, and because it's an LTPO panel, the battery life between this was also a very interesting fact too, which I'll go into the battery usage between these two phones later on as well. So the main cameras are the same, 50 megapixels for the main, but there's a huge upgrade on the Pixel 9's ultra-wide camera, going all the way up to 48 megapixels compared to just 12 megapixels on the Pixel 8. But does this mean that this ultra-wide lenses is so much better than the Pixel 8? Well, the answer is no. Because as seen side by side, there's no difference in quality at all. Even when I pinched to zoom up to 4 times into the image, even the dynamic range was equally even in this particular shot. So that was the case for the main lens's quality as well. So if you're thinking whether or not there's a huge differences or even there's any differences between these two cameras, the answer is a huge no, even if you zoom digitally as well. Portrait mode for objects once again was the same, where there is a wide portrait mode in the camera app, which had the same great subject to background blur. But the story was not the same for human subjects, where as seen in this second shot, the skin tones on the Pixel 8 looked a bit more pale and not as great on the details. Then switching over to the front cameras, while both phones have the same lenses, what's interesting is that the image quality on the Pixel 9 was better on the regular selfie, where there's also a wide selfie option over here, but still the Pixel 9 looks nicer on the skin tones and the overall texture. Then as for selfie portraits, while both did amazingly well on the subject to background blur, once again the skin tones on the Pixel 9 was better and the texture was sharper on my beard area, and no, it's not like it's doing a lot of over sharpening over here, as it did look very natural as seen in this photo. Then the nighttime photos were also the same for the ultra-wide lenses even under a low light situation, which was weird because how does a 48 megapixel count on the Pixel 9 performs the same compared to the previous 12 megapixel on the Pixel 8? Well, here's where the software optimization plays a huge role over here, as the highlights and the shadows was totally equal. Then the main lenses at night also had no difference even when zoomed in digitally. Then portrait mode for objects was a bit of a change on the edge detection, where this time around the Pixel 8 was a bit better but sacrificing the color accuracy even when it comes to human subjects as well. Then the story was the same for the regular selfie photos at night, where the Pixel 9 did overall better. As for the video performance, the story was the same for the ultra-wide lenses and the main lenses too, both really nice but performed the same, even for the 2 times and even the 7 times quality as well. But yeah, as seen in the footage, please do not use the 7 times video quality, as it did not look good at all. Stabilization then was the same, performing very nicely for the ultra-wide and the main lenses, even for the front cameras as well. But the Pixel 9 handles the overall exposure just a little better. Then the ultra-wide lenses at night was a bit better on the Pixel 9, as it handled the noise on the darker areas a little better. So yeah, here's where you finally see the bigger megapixel count doing better. Then the main lenses at night was the same for both, so was the video stabilization for the ultra-wide and the main lenses as well. Now honestly, I did not like the front video for both phones, as it did not look great, with tons of noise and some weird lens flare pleasant. So yeah, be sure to look for some lighting if you're taking some selfie videos at night. And here's a vlogging test using the front cameras during the day for you to hear how it sounds. Okay, so this is a vlogging test using both the Pixel 9 and the Pixel 8. Image quality looks good. It looks pretty much the same if I had to look through the viewfinder. What's interesting is that within the camera app, while I'm recording my video right now, I can change into the 1 times or 1.4 times zoom while I'm recording, which is interesting because usually a lot of smartphone cameras, if you have that option to change the focal length for the front camera, is usually after you've taken a shot. So it's nice that you can kind of adjust this. This gives you a better framing, but of course this is an audio quality test. I am up on a rooftop. It's not as windy as how it used to be or usually is. So did you hear that? So yeah, this is an audio test. Test 1 2, test 1 2, test 1 2. Now, if you guys are enjoying this video so far, a nice big thumbs up would be very much appreciated, as this particular video took us 3 weeks to do. And if you're not subscribed yet, a subscription would be lovely too. Thank you very much in advance. Now, when it comes to the software, I'm used to really loving the software experience on Pixel devices more than any other Android phones. But as time passes by, other brands like Samsung with their latest Android skins like the One UI or even Nothing OS has surpassed the overall usability from a day-to-day usage, where to a certain point, I'm not a huge fan of the Pixel skin on these Google Pixel devices. Now, not that it totally sucks, but there are certain quirks like how I cannot remove the Google screen bar on the home screen, and I cannot even directly uninstall apps in the apps drawer, where it does overall makes me question why Google even doesn't allow that. However, on the Pixel 9, there's an app called Screenshot, which some reviewers say is useless, but I found it extremely useful, as I'm someone who takes a lot of screenshots. So it's nice to have this dedicated app where you can create your own collection over here. And the search function over here is also very useful. For example, if I want to find my screen on time, I just type screen and it will show me the screenshot of that. Or if I want to find a screenshot of a keyword inside the photo, it also shows over there as well. So I really love that app. Then there's also other exclusive features and apps that are not available on the baseline Pixel 8 or even any variant of the Pixel 8, like the Pixel Studio app. While I do have to admit that it may come out as a novelty feature, but it is nice to have a dedicated app to create images from scratch, compared to using apps like Midjourney. And while this Pixel Studio is not as advanced as Midjourney, but it was a nice to have. Then the biggest viral feature that Marquez made extra famous was the Add Me feature, but for cloning yourself. But the main reason why this feature exists is for you to include a person who's taking a photo to add themselves in, which was nice and something that I do feel is more useful than many people think. Then there's even more improved editing tools such as the Auto Frame and Reimagine too, which was cool but probably not something that you would use as often, but once again, a very nice have. Then the Gemini AI advancement on the Google Pixel 9 was also great if you use that a lot. Now the reason why Google made this a Pixel 9 only feature is that they claim that the new Tensor G4 chipset is what powers all of this. Which I have to admit that I was a little skeptical about this claim, but I guess we all have to take Google's word for it. So yeah, in this software category, the clear winner over here is the Google Pixel 9. Now, even before going into the battery life, I already suspected that the Pixel 8 would not do a very good job, as that was my biggest gripe of using this phone daily last year. So after the bunch of software updates, how does it do right now? Well, as expected. Right now, this 4575 milliamps of battery did only about 3 hours plus of screen on time when I was at 10% battery with dark mode turned on. Whereas the Google Pixel 9 did better, about 4 hours plus with heavy use at 14% battery. So if you're not using the phone too much to take photos, play games, or even taking videos, you can get close to 5 hours of screen on time on this 4700 milliamps. Then the wired charging speeds are also the same at only 27 watts, and there's also wireless charging for both phones, so no complaints over here. So yes, here's another clear winner on the Google Pixel 9. Now, if you're lost in every technical details mentioned in this video, you can head to our website at www.adamlobo.tv for a written version of this and all of our videos, so check that out. Links will be down below. So how is the gaming experience on both then? Well, you might be surprised with this one because while the Pixel 9 did very well on Genshin Impact at high settings 60 FPS with motion blur at low, the biggest problem on the Pixel 9 firstly is the fact that it did become really hot about 12 minutes of gaming, and secondly, while the phone was nicer to hold when using it daily, but it was not so much nice to play games with. And coupled with the hot to the touch situation, it made the experience absolutely undelightful. Where not only the Google Pixel 8 did a very good job on the same settings too, but it was much nicer to hold during long periods of gaming because of the slightly curved form factor at the edges, and since it did not heat up at all, it made gaming on the Pixel 8 a way better choice. So yeah, this was a surprising win on the Google Pixel 8 in this particular gaming category. So there you have it. This video truly shows that the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 9 both brings their own unique strengths to the table. The Pixel 8 shines in areas like gaming comfort and overall stability, while the Pixel 9 steps up with a brighter display and some truly innovative software features. But if you want to see what I love and did not like about the Google Pixel 8, which MKBHD calls this phone last year's phone of the year, check that video out over here.